Taxes. We're going to grow the economy. It's going to grow at a record rate.
But that's not going to help an entitlement.
It's going to totally help you. And one thing we have to do, repeal and replace the disaster known as Obamacare. It's destroying our country. It's destroying our businesses, our small business and our big businesses. We have to repeal and replace Obamacare.
We need to put more money into the Social Security Trust Fund. That's part of my commitment to raise taxes on the wealthy. I will not cut benefits. I want to enhance benefits for low-income workers and for women who have been disadvantaged by the current Social Security system.
Well, the nominee is outlining their plans to deal with the national debt and grow the economy, specifically touching on entitlements like Social Security. We wanted to talk a little bit about the substance of that. Austin Goolsbee is an economic advisor to Hillary Clinton and former chairman of President Obama's Council of Economic Advisors. Peter Navarro is a policy advisor to Donald Trump and economics professor at the University of California. It's great to have you both. So here we're back to some of the central themes, economic growth versus taxes and which is going to work best. Austin, first to you. Hillary Clinton making the argument that she is going to tax the wealthy in part to help pay for some of the missing parts that we have in Social Security and entitlements, to help boost those entitlements for 95% of the people out there. Is that enough? Will the wealthy solve the issue for 95% of Americans?
Well, that's just a question about the numbers, and independent budget analysts have said that her numbers do add up, unlike Donald Trump's numbers. I would say that using the high-income taxes that come in from raising those taxes, she's going to do other investments as well. It's not just Social Security. It's about education system and infrastructure. And I think the evidence shows that's a better way to get the economy growing than is to go back to what George Bush did.
Peter, what do you think about that? Is taxing the wealthy enough alone to pay, in part, as Austin says, for Social Security to make sure that the system doesn't go bankrupt?
Of course not. I mean, what Hillary Clinton promised last night is to try to solve all the problems she's created over the last 23 years. It's ridiculous. Let's look at the two plans. Donald Trump wants to cut taxes, reduce regulation, unleash the energy sector, and most importantly, eliminate the trade deficit. Every one of those things points in the direction of growth that we need. Under Hillary and Obama, we've got 1% growth right now, and we're not going to get past that because she is going to raise taxes. That's not going to help growth. She's going to increase regulation. That's not going to help growth. She told the people of Ohio and the rest of this country, the coal miners, she's going to put them out of business.
But Peter,
electricity prices go up.
Chris Wallace interrupted Donald Trump and said that the economic growth in and of itself is not going to solve the issue with entitlement. Is it? Is your argument that economic growth is enough to solve the problem?
Here's the thing. The Austin Clinton Beltway mentality is the only way we can survive in America is if you're a Democrat to raise taxes or if you're a Republican is to cut expenses. The third way, the smart way, the Trump way, is to get back to 3.5% growth rate over time. We did that for 5.5 decades from 1947 to 2001. That generates tremendous amounts of income, tremendous amounts of tax revenues, 25 million jobs.
Okay.
And we can do that again. See, this is what's so defeatism about Austin, Goolsbee, and Clinton. They'll say, well, we can't do it.
Let me give Austin a chance to respond to that. Peter's argument in and of itself, Austin, is that you get more people working, you get more people paying into the system. It's not just about taxing the wealthy. Economic growth will help us solve this problem. Do you think it will?
No, I agree. That is what Peter said. And do they not remember that the same people said that when George Bush proposed exactly those policies and did that, and we didn't get growth? We cut corporate taxes and high-income people's taxes as much as they've ever been cut, and we didn't get growth. And now they're proposing to do 3 times what George Bush did.
Put up
it
the
makes
white
no
flag
sense.
and say, we can't grow, Austin. That's what you're saying to the American people. We can't do any better. Clinton's going to take us to 1% growth rate.
Let's not do something dumb.
You're doing something dumb when you say we can't grow. You got 1% growth.
Here's also one of the fundamental arguments that we have.
2 to 2.5% growth.
There is a new normal in the economy. That where we're at right now is the best we can do, or perhaps this is where we're going to be in America from now on. We're not going to see the booms that we've seen in the past. Austin, respond directly to Peter about that. Do you believe that we're in a new normal, and that's why we have to tax the wealthy?
The new dismal.
No, those two things are not related. Number one, we are the fastest growing of all major economies in the world.
Oh, please.
Of all the
Tell that to
leading
Peter.
developed
Peter.
economies, we're the fastest growing.
Come on.
We have had 2 to 2.5%
China,
growth
India,
for 6
7
years.
and 8%.
And please
Peter.
stop. So, number one, we have been growing modest, not great.
Thank
A
you.
large part of that is because our population growth has not been as high as it was in the 1980s.
Defeatism.
But that doesn't mean that we should go back to a strategy that was tried in the 2000s
Okay, so Peter, let me ask
and
you
got
that.
us lower
Bush did
growth
try
than
what
we have
Austin
now.
is describing, and we're still in this situation that we're in. So is there any evidence that it would work?
We didn't try that. All Bush did was cut taxes. What Donald Trump does is eliminate the trade deficit, reduce regulation, unleash the energy sector. This is Ronald Reagan reboot in the 21st century, and we're giving the American people the chance to get 3.5% growth, 25 million jobs, the first time their incomes go up in 15 years, and all they can give us is the same and worse. That's
I know deep down.
That's it.
Deep down, you two have a great affection for each other, and I feel like that really comes through. It helps our segment.
I love Austin.
It's a
It's
great
so fun.
debate. We look forward to having you
We
back.
always
We have a
have
lot more to
fun.
talk about. Thank you, Austin and Peter. Be right back with more in a moment.